First, I want to say thank you to the NAACP for hosting the event, the Shonga Journal for sponsoring it, and everyone for coming out tonight. I also want to say thank you to Greg because together I believe we both have ran one of the cleanest campaigns in Ulster County. And so I just want to mention that. My name is Tim Distel, and I'm running for County Legislator in the new District 14. For those of you who aren't aware of the new redistricting, that includes the western end of Worcing and the western end of Shonga. Earlier on the campaign trail, someone asked me why I was in this race, and it's plain and simple. It's about people. Throughout this process, I've met a bus driver who lost his job, and he's on the verge of losing his house.
It's just testing the, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just testing the alarm system.
And he's currently burning through savings to keep his house. I met a grandmother who worries that she won't be able this area won't be able to provide the same opportunities that someone gave her, and won't be able to create a future that they deserve. And I met a veteran who worries that soldiers returning from Iraq and Afghanistan won't be greeted with jobs and parades, but with poverty and despair. So throughout this campaign, I put about 1,000 hours so far. And of that time, I've developed a comprehensive plan of action for Ulster County. To develop that plan, I've met with teachers, with administrators, with business owners, and with everyday citizens. And I'd just like to share a couple of them, and we'll share more as we go on through the question. We also need to offer early retirement incentives. That would help basically bring a salary down to the base, and it will allow us to reduce our personnel line. We also need to expand the UCAT to bring guests of our local hotels into our downtown business areas and pump some new money into the economy. That would also help young people get to work, get to the college, and elderly people to get around the county. We also need to take back the safety net program into county control where it belongs. The safety net program will free up over $500,000 for the town of Worcing and the town of Shonga. I would like that money to be earmarked for road reconstruction after the storm and to clean out and restore the streams to prevent future flooding issues. And one of the things that I've had a great issue with throughout this campaign is southern Ulster County is frequently ignored by Kingston. And one of the ways we have to change that is we need to have regular public meetings with our elected representatives here in Ellenville and here in Shonga, because debate can't take place exclusively in Kingston. We need to hear people's opinions and concerns on big votes before they take place in the county vote. So over the course of time, I'd like to tell you a little bit more about my plan, and feel free to ask any questions. Thank you.
Ulster County Social Services is a county agency, as you guys are aware. They have a habit of relocating sex offenders in this area. If you were on the Social Services Committee in the Legislature, how would you respond to the needs of the community down here?
Well, I think there needs to be a county-wide law that would keep sex offenders away from schools. I mean, we have to make sure that they can't reside in a hotel or a motel for more than a set period, say 30 days, before we have to kind of move them around. And we also have to make sure that local law enforcement and schools are aware that when a sex offender moves into the area, they receive the information, the community gets that information. But at a county level, I think we need to do a better job at coordinating those efforts to keep our area safe.
Where do you stand in regards to the whole Golden Hill situation?
Well, I think with Golden Hill, we need to first focus on the deficit it produces. The county has to subsidize the facility by about $5.5 million, and that's a huge chunk of the deficit we were running this year. And I think in order to, where we need to focus on there is we need to expand into more profitable areas and expand the scope of what Golden Hill does. Day hab centers basically allow people caring for an elderly loved one that are starting to get into the advanced stages of dementia. Basically, it's like daycare. They go for a day while they're at work, but then they get their loved one to come home with them, and so that helps reduce that deficit. Rehab center is also another area that can really help offset that deficit. I would like to keep Golden Hill in public hands, as it has been for 70 years. The legislature is moving towards privatization, and if we go that route, I think we really need to fight for a facility here in southern Ulster County, especially by the hospital. I mean, that would help, create good jobs for this area, and it would help, really inject some new money, because it would allow people to work, and then they can go spend money in the downtown business areas, and so I think it would be in our best interest to try to get a satellite facility, no matter what form, whether it's public or private, here in southern Ulster County.
What are your thoughts about the new single district legislature, and do you feel that the relationship between the legislature and the county executive is workable?
I think the relationship between the legislature and the county executive is workable, and I think it's helpful to have an executive position, because it acts as sort of like a CEO, as a guiding idea of how we should run the county, and then in sync with the legislature, then works with people to support our interests. The biggest problem I have with the redistricting is how they handle moving polling places around. I mean, a good example is in Cragsmore. I mean, they split Cragsmore up into 2 different districts, and now people who are elderly would have to travel down the mountain into the vote in the village of Ellenville, where they've been voting at the Cragsmore Firehouse for many, many years. So I think it could have been handled a lot better, and it probably should have held off to the next election cycle, because the legislative districts were finalized very late in the season, when campaigns and declarations of candidacies should have already taken place. And I think that caused a lot of problems this year, and I know the Board of Elections is dealing with the repercussions of that change, and they're really putting in a lot of hours to try to have a fair election this year, based on I think a plan that was really rushed into action. Well, as I said, I've almost put about 1,000 hours since the start of this campaign, and I worked really hard to develop a blueprint to build a better Ulster County. And I've met with experts in various fields, as well as some of my own ideas of what we can do. I also want to touch, someone mentioned earlier about crime prevention and what we can do to be more proactive in that. And I was surprised to learn from a member of law enforcement that we don't have a county-run alternative sentencing program. So I'd like to basically, for non-violent youthful offenders, start an apprenticeship program for local businesses. Say, work with, say a painter or a plumber, to get someone who, is on the wrong track, an opportunity to learn from their mistakes, but also learn a trade to help them get on the right track. Mostly what my plan is focused on is economic development and job creation. And I think we have enormous potential here in the area. We have Sam's Point, we have Shadowland, we have a host of local restaurants, and we have a bus system that drives right past 2 large hotels, the Hudson Valley Resort and the Honor Stadium. At their peak, they have upwards of 1,000 visitors. We need to expand that bus system, charge a fee so it doesn't cost anything to taxpayers, and start bringing these people into our downtown business areas. The Shonga Wine Trail, and as the other businesses I just mentioned. So I believe we can build a better community. We can do it through eliminating the lifetime health care benefit program for county legislators. We can do it through having a more conservative budget. We can do it through expanding our tax base. And we can do it by working together and having more communication between the resources we have. I'm just asking that you believe in me.